Welcome to another trade of the day here at Trader TV Live, and it's Nordstrom's on tap. Now, obviously retail has been in play. Macy's, what an unbelievable blowout that they absolutely had with their recent quarter, and just incredible price action we saw the day after. Lowe's, a big one there, kind of a different sector, but still over in that retail play, a big second day move that they were able to have. There were going to be some tough conditions for something like Nordstrom's here. So despite the fact that they beat on the top and the bottom, everybody was focused on a disappointing sales number that was below by about 6% of their pre-pandemic levels there. So a big disappointment. It had to be perfect. It wasn't perfect. We came in and the stock was gapping down. I mean, it was crushed, right? So you're sitting there saying to yourself, what do I do when it's already down 11%? How do you formulate a bit of a plan? I kind of knew I didn't want to be on the long side of it, but it came so far. We jumped right back into our higher time frame, and let's see what we can look at on the daily chart. First thing that's going to stand out here was just going right back into July, this 31 bottom. I'm ignoring the wicks a little bit down past that level to hone in on 31. That's the first thing I said. Okay, well, is there room to 31? Answer was yes. Still a couple of dollars worth of room when I sat down, so now we have a bit of a resistance level. And the other thing that came in here is I asked myself, is there any significant level on the bounce up from 41, which I think could be actionable? And this is what stood out to me. We had a pullback day from 35 that had a bit of a bottom here at 33.5, and then an open the next day at 33.5. Okay, so I have something else to work with. The only problem is when I sit down, I'm looking at this trading with a 34 high and then going back and forth at that 33 half mark. It had traded down below it by a few pennies. It had traded above it by a few cents. So as I'm working into this trade, I'm asking myself this: if I short 33.5, am I really giving it to 35? $1.50 worth of risk, a break of a pre-market high, which was sitting at 34, you'd have to hold through. And then you have an absolute rock of a floor at 31. That didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Yes, you might say to yourself, okay, $2.50 to your level to the downside, that's okay, and $1.50, so that's over 1-to-1. But I still didn't like that setup because I'm having to hold it through a breakout of a pre-market high and a stock gapping down 11%. That's too much momentum on that level. I asked myself, does it make sense to just put that tight stop in at 34? And it gave me a couple of reasons why I'll go with the tight stop, and we did. It allows me to get a better price. Just let it hang out in the 33.50 to 34 range, able to get 70s in. If it breaks that 34 high at the pre-market, I just get out. I can then sit the stock out, see what happens when it gets up to 35. If I still like it up there, I can jump back in the trade. Sometimes you've got to be willing to miss out on the big move to structure a trade that allows you to A, actually have a plan and mitigate risk, and then B, follow that plan. And I don't think I could have followed the plan if I'm letting it break that 34. I'm probably going to do some crazy averaging in, make an entire mess all the way up to that 35, taking too much risk into that level. So things obviously go to plan, as you can see here. Before the open, we already got a flush down and past that 33. Because it's pre-market trading, I'm usually going to take off some shares in front of that target on the off chance that we're going to get a little bit of a bounce into the upside at 9:30. Yesterday, there was some meme stocks moving. So at 9:30, I was heavily looking at some other names, including AMCs of the world, your Context Logics, which might have cost me a little bit here because we get exactly what we expect. We take some shares off, and I'm now waiting for a push down to the even 32 and then the 31, which we end up getting. But when the volume comes in at the open, it does spike back in to that range, allowing us to get 33.50. So we always have to look at both the good and the bad in the trade. I 100% missed this shot. And because this was the first stock I looked at when I sat down, that's inexcusable, right? And this tends to happen when there's big volume over in like your meme stocks, your AMCs. Day traders get attracted to those. And sometimes your more simplistic momentum setups on catalysts like earnings get thrown away. And maybe that shouldn't have been done here. In fact, it shouldn't have been done here because that's a re-entry off this 33.50 when it fails. Definitely can take some out here at the previous pre-market low, then back to plan, take some out at 32. We get the absolute bottom here. 31's my target. I get out of it. At that point, I'm actually thinking about if it holds that level, I'm going to get into a long trade. Now, I reversed here accidentally, so we're going to cover that trade flat. That's not when I wanted to get back in. Your bonus here was how I chose to get into the trade. Now, remember I said I would ignore those wicks on the daily chart? Now you can come back and sort of look. Each time it actually broke that 31 and then came right back to the upside. So it actually held that level a little bit. And I wanted to see if I'm going long, I want 31 to break. And this is the way I framed it exactly. I'll frame it here. Right around this time is when I was saying it on the live show. I'll let it break 31 even. If it holds 30.75 and then reclaims a 31, then I'm looking for a long. Right? So in this particular case, I mean, there was about a 30.50, which it kind of held up, checked up here, and I like that on a breakout. So I basically just took quarters and then took the break right here at 50. So added those two positions in, just allowing the momentum to go up. It then holds the higher low. And I've already, at the time of filming this, I've literally already scalped out some at 31.80. And I got some more offers in this cluster right here where it dipped at the open, just in case we can't take out that 32.50. If we do, what level do you think I'd take it all out? Last quarter, 1,000,000% I would get out between that 33 and the 33.50. So the same levels I was using on the way down, I'm going to use those on the way up here. That's Nordstrom's. Let me know how you did today. With the money in the meme stocks, I ended up doing the best in a classical earnings play. And Nordstrom's, of course, look, it doesn't matter if you beat top and bottom. You got to go with the sentiment. And they had to be absolutely perfect. They were not. Stuck to the short until it went to the obvious support level and then reversed into a long trade. That's your trade of the day here, Trader TV Live. Always tune into both our morning show and 3 o'clock for Power Hour, guys. See you out there.